Hi guys, today I thought I would show you my language learning books, and perhaps if the video doesn't get too long I'll also show you my fiction books I own in foreign languages. My bookshelf behind me is really overflowing with books, so I don't actually have the space to put my language books in here, so they're kind of spread out throughout my room. Some are in the drawers underneath my bed, some are in some boxes, some are just in a different cupboard, so I can't actually do like a fun bookshelf tour, but I'll just show you the books I have. So these are the few language learning books that kind of have a place together in a cupboard, but it's just between my art supplies and some CDs. So I do actually have more language learning books, but I just don't have the space right now. I might just want to like rearrange my cupboard so I can have one shelf particularly dedicated to language learning. I have the most books for learning Swedish because that's the language I've been studying the longest. Well, technically I've been studying German, French and English longer, but I was in high school and Swedish was really the first language I started studying on my own. So I bought this basic course Swedish Part 1, Basiskurser Schweiz, deel 1, and this is a Dutch book for learning Swedish, and this is what I started with, and this is a book in the same series for like pronunciation, I guess. But it was, I don't know, it was a bit dry, I guess, and at the time, probably if I would start these now I wouldn't really have an issue with them, but I started these when it was like 16 or 15, I think 15 probably. And at the time I just thought they were a bit dry and not as much fun, so I did like a few chapters in it, but I never really finished it, and I didn't like it that much. But then I took a course in Sweden, and there we actually used a book that was completely in Swedish. This one, Restart, A1, A2, this is a textbook, and this is the workbook that goes with it, and we use these in the course, and as I said, they're completely in Swedish and I really like them, so I continued with these at home. Like, we finished the entire books during course, but I still like revised and went back to them. But after the course, eventually I also got the second book in the series, Restart B1, B2 textbook, and also the workbook. These are the books I'm currently working my way through. I haven't worked in them for quite a while, but they are really nice books. I do find like it's nice that they're really completely in Swedish, like for immersion and, you know, exposure, but at the same time it also means that they try to explain the grammar in a very simple way, and sometimes I just feel like I need a bit more, so I've been looking more into like buying books specifically about grammar in Swedish, like for maybe just like Swedish students in Sweden, perhaps like high school students or something. So I found a few books I might order, but if I'm going to order some books I want to order multiple at once because shipping costs and all that, so it might take a while. Next I have this random booklet, Welsh with Ease. I picked it up at a charity shop, and I don't currently have any aspirations to learn Welsh, but it was cheap and it was another language that I didn't really know much about, so that's really the only reason I picked it up. For Italian I have this complete Italian book by Teach Yourself. I bought this last summer after we went to Italy because I started learning Italian with Duolingo, and I thought that was going to be it, that I wouldn't really study Italian after that holiday, but I realised I actually like Italian, so I picked up this book afterwards. But I am still on the first chapter. I haven't really continued it because I've been focusing on other languages. Next I have two phrase books. I have this phrase book for Japanese. It's in Dutch, but it's kind of annoying because the way they transcribe, like phonetically transcribe the sentences, it's very confusing. I guess they did it in a way that they thought would be easy for Dutch people to understand, but since I've learned to write like Romaji in a very different way, it's very confusing, honestly. And the other phrase book I have is for Norwegian. I And currently, like, I want to learn Norwegian at some point, but I want to like improve my Swedish first, be more fluent, and also I started learning Danish a little bit, like on Duolingo, so I first want to get my Danish to a high level before I start learning Norwegian, because I feel like Norwegian's kind of, for me, in between Swedish and Danish, so I would probably mix them up if I would start Norwegian right now. For German, I have a bunch of stuff from high school still that is still somewhat useful. I had these Deutsch lernen mit Spielen und Rätseln books, learning German with like games and riddles, and this was just like crossword puzzles and stuff like that to just make it more fun to learn German, and this was really just to learn vocabulary, so this was what we used in the first year of high school. And I thought I dug them out again a while back, and I thought I would just use these to make like vocabulary lists and to kind of revise vocabulary, because I knew all these words at some point but I've forgotten most of them, to be honest. And those books, Deutsch lernen mit Spielen und Rätseln, like if you really like want to learn the grammar and all that, it's not really useful because it doesn't really teach you any grammar, but it is completely in German, so that's kind of nice, I think. So for grammar, in the next few years in high school we use these books, Genau. They are in Dutch and they're quite dry, but they do explain the grammar quite well, so that's why I kept them, and I still flip through them every now and then. So yeah, these were quite useful. I still use them sometimes. My newest book for German is this German Tutor Grammar and Vocabulary Workbook. I got it last year for my birthday. I haven't started it yet, but I'm really excited to. I just want to finish the German Duolingo tree first before I start this, and just revise some like grammar and basic stuff from high school, because this book does assume you have some basic knowledge of German. For French, I only have like stuff that I used in high school, really. I have a lot of workbooks, but without the textbook they aren't really useful, so I don't use those anymore. But I do have this Grammaire Essentielle, Essential Grammar book, which is supposed to teach you like basic grammar, but it's honestly, it's really confusing because it does teach you really basic grammar, but at the same time it assumes that you already have a very advanced vocabulary, so I'm not a huge fan of it, and it's also in Dutch, so for most people probably not very useful. Another thing that we used in high school, like a few weeks actually, because it was way too hard, is this book, Fréquence. It's like it has a CD and it's like a workbook with questions, like listening exercises basically, but it was way too difficult when we started doing this in high school, so we never really continued past chapter 2, I think. But I do want to continue it myself at some point, because I think once I do some revision my French is probably better than it was at the time, so I think I should be able to get something out of these texts maybe. For Japanese I have 4 books. The first one I bought was Japanese from 0-1, and I bought this one before we went to Japan like 2 years ago or so. I really like this. It's very like accessible, and yeah, if you feel intimidated about language learning, then this makes it seem really easy, I think, and that's what I really liked about it. And at the same time it does a really good job of just explaining like grammar points, although I do think like it is definitely very basic, so at some point you're gonna need more, but for what it is really good. After I finished Japanese from 0-1, I got the second book, Japanese from 0-2, and that's the one I'm currently working through. I'm really not that far in, to be honest, but I hope to be working on it a little bit more this summer. Next up are these kanji look and learn books. This is the workbook, this is the textbook. I picked this up one while I was in Japan, because like a lot of learning material for Japanese is quite expensive in the Netherlands, like especially like the normal Genki series. The first Genki textbook is just so expensive. It was actually cheaper for me if I would have ordered it from a Japanese Amazon and then had it shipped over to here. So so I figured while I was in Japan I would just pick up some Japanese learning material, so that's why I decided to pick up these kanji look and learn books. And I haven't started these yet because like my level isn't good enough, but I do hope to get to them at some point. I'm pretty sure I have a few more books somewhere, but as I said, my books are all very spread out throughout my room, and also I have some books at university, so I've kind of lost track of where all my books are. So the last book that I have here for like really learning a language is this one, Chinese in 10 verdiepingen, Chinese in 2 levels. This is a Dutch book for learning Mandarin Chinese, and I used this in high school because I took like a couple of Mandarin classes, but I didn't really continue with it. But I do hope to continue with it myself at some point, although I do feel like out of all of these languages, Mandarin is definitely going to be the most difficult to learn on my own because of pronunciation and tones and all that. But I do really want to continue with it, but first maybe Japanese. I don't exactly know how long I've been filming, but I feel like it was already quite long, so I think I'm just going to split the video into 2, so look out for the next video. And in the comments, maybe let me know how you learn languages, like if you're one of those people like me that really likes textbook, or if you just prefer to learn through immersion and apps like Duolingo and that kind of stuff. Yeah, let me know, and maybe I'll see you in my next video. Bye!